Right now, I'm going to introduce you to, or reintroduce you to a guy running for Congress. And I was originally made aware of him when he stood up to Chris Christie in public. Here, there he is. Well, let's get to my computer first. This is one man's crusade to end Nike sweatshops pays off. So Jim Keady made national news and international news when he was the coach of a Catholic college team, and he wouldn't wear their Nike stuff. So he stood up, he lost his job over it, he did the right thing. And then, what did he do? He went and actually lived with those people who make the Nikes. One man's crusade to end Nike. An assistant coach with St. John's University national championship soccer team and a graduate theology student. He refused to wear the company's emblem when the New York Catholic University accepted a $3.5 million Nike sponsorship. Keady's coaching contract wasn't renewed, and his $11 million freedom of expression lawsuit against Nike and St. John's was thrown out of court in 2000. Keady's lone hand activism over more than a decade against worker exploitation by Indonesian Nike supplier companies culminated in a groundbreaking agreement for PT Nokomis Gemilang to repay 4,437 production workers 8.1 billion rupees, or $869,100, for almost 600,000 hours of forced unpaid overtime. So that's who Jim Keady is. And just 2 nights ago, they had a little debate, and here's his opponent, trying to get blue-collar people to vote for him. His name is Josh Well, and listen to what he says about Wall Street.
And we can't do it without you. We can't do it without your voices, your energy, your passions. It's about seniors, it's about young people, it's about teachers, it's about the blue collars and white collars, and Wall Street's included too. Wall Street's not the enemy, farmers not the enemy. Before we were Democrats and Republicans, we were Americans, and that's what I'm swearing to protect.
I would say Wall Street is the enemy.
Yes, I would too.
And if you don't know that Wall Street is the enemy of workers, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you shouldn't be in government. Jim Keady makes that point. Watch this.
Tell the millions of families who lost their homes in 2008, the people who lost their pensions and 401ks, and the people who lost millions of jobs that Wall Street's not the enemy. Yeah. This is the problem we've had as a party. We cannot simultaneously be the party of Wall Street and big donors and be the party of Main Street and working families. Yeah. That's the fundamental choice that we have right now as Democrats. We each have to search our souls and ask, what kind of leadership do we want? Do we want the leadership that's going to fight for Wall Street corporations and billionaires? Or do we want leadership that's going to fight for working families, for seniors on fixed incomes, for kids that are crippled by college debt, by people who at times have more month than money? To me, that's what Democrat is being all about.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
That's who I am. It's what I've been doing for the last 25 years of my life. And the experiences that I've had at the grassroots level with my activism, with the service that I gave here in Monmouth County in local government, and doing the work that I've done across the United States in education and advocacy and around the world in international human rights, and working here in the district. I've been at this for 20 years. In our hometown area, in the fight in 4th District. We go to Congressman Smith's office now, and there are dozens and dozens of people, whether we're scorching on the pavement in the summer or we're bouncing around freezing in the winter. Dozens of people. 2 years ago, if an issue popped, it would have been me, Mary Ann, maybe 2 or 3 other people just kind of holding our signs. Energy, it is the one thing that I thank Donald Trump for. The energy he has unleashed in districts like this around the country. Is like nothing I've ever seen before, and I've been here in the trenches at the grassroots for 25 years, so I think I can say that with some authority. And now we're going to take that energy. We're going to take the energy that was there with existing party leaders who've been at it for years, where maybe at a committee meeting there were 6 or 7 people, and now you have 60 or 70. And we're going to channel it all into a bold, progressive, grassroots campaign that is going to win this district doorstep by doorstep, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, until we get leadership that the Fighting Fourth has deserved. For 37 years, we've had a congressman who doesn't want to live here, doesn't want to spend time here, doesn't shop in our shops, send his kids to our schools, drive on our roads. The time is now for the Fighting Fourth to have one of their own, and I hope you will support me, Jim Keady, and the Keady for Congress campaign to make that a reality.
So there's a guy who knows how to bring a room full of people to their feet. He's running in the 4th District in New Jersey. He's a fighting progressive. He's a brass-knuckled progressive. Let's welcome Jim Keady to the program. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Jimmy, I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. That was quite a speech you gave. What was the mood in the room when your opponent said that Wall Street wasn't the enemy?
It kind of went over like a lead balloon. And certainly, I think you saw the reaction that people had when I challenged him on that, saying that, until Wall Street, they're not going to reform themselves, until they're open to the reforms that bold progressive Democrats are putting forth, I don't think we can call them our friends. We had a situation in 2008 where the big banks and the rating agencies nearly drove our global economy off a cliff. We lost $19.2 trillion in wealth. Millions of families lost their homes. Millions of people lost their pension plans and their 401ks. We saw more people go below the poverty line than in the 52 years that metric has been kept. And yet we still have not seen more than one banker go to jail for the fraud that was committed by the American people. And it's back to business as usual. Yes, the Dow may be roaring and it's over 26,000 right now, but we're seeing another bubble get inflated. And my fear is that we're going to see a situation that's going to be even worse than what happened between 2008 and 2010 when that initial bubble burst and we saw the Great Recession then. And the people who are going to get hurt the most are the people who are at the bottom. And that's because we have far too many representatives in Congress right now that are doing the bidding of the Wall Street lobbyists and the giant corporations and the billionaire class, as opposed to standing up for working families and mom and pop businesses on main streets all over my district and all over the United States.
Now, the current congressman from your district, New Jersey's 4th, it's Chris Smith.
Yes.
Now, he's an absentee congressman, correct?
We call him No-Show Smith. He has not lived in the state of New Jersey since 1983. He has been living in Northern Virginia for so long that his kids get access to in-state tuition at Virginia schools. He spends less than 20% of the year per congressional records in the 4th District. His most egregious year was in 2006. He only slept 7 nights in the state of New Jersey, and he has not held an open public town hall meeting since April of 1993, my senior year in college, almost 25 years ago. I think that at a minimum, every American deserves a congressperson who at least lives in the state that they are going to claim to represent, and that they deserve a congressperson that is going to come back to the district week in and week out and listen to the concerns of the people and then bring those concerns back to the floor of the House.
Now, when you say a bold progressive agenda, Chuck Schumer also says that. Do you guys mean the same thing?
I think on paper, probably yes. Where one's commitments have lied over the last few decades is a different question. I can speak for myself that the things that I believe as a bold progressive, making sure that we create or take away the massive gap we see in income inequality, making sure that we protect workers' rights, that we're fighting, pushing back with bold policies, not only to protect our environment from climate change, but to unleash a green industrial revolution, joining the fight for 15, making sure that we have college tuition that's free at our public universities. Going for the way that I explain it to people is having public education that's paid for with tax dollars from pre-kindergarten up to 16th grade. And we could go on with different issues that we all are concerned about as progressives, and I want to get in there and fight for those policies. Now, I am to the left of center. And this is one of the disagreements that I have with some people that are within the party locally and nationally. And I made this point in the full debate the other night on Monday night that my opponent, one of my opponents, is saying that he's a centrist. And my belief is if you're going to go in and we're going to try to negotiate, we're going to have to do some negotiations with Republicans. That's how the federal government works. If we put our stake down in the center and we not have to negotiate, that means we're going to end up with a policy that's somewhere to the center right. I firmly believe the way to go is putting that stake down to the left, and as we negotiate and compromise, we'll end up in the middle. Will either sides be happy? No. But will we have made progress for the American people? Absolutely.
So that's a great point, by the way, and that was the big rub against Barack Obama, that he would always start negotiations from the middle of the other guy's position, and then he would start compromising from there, which is a big mistake, and you just outlined that perfectly. So when you say you're a bold progressive, one of the things that makes a bold progressive bold is he doesn't take corporate money. That's the 100% deal right there. Do you take corporate money?
Absolutely not. I've been clear with when I started my political career and I was running as a council person in the city of Asbury Park, I made it very clear to anyone who ever gave to me back in those early races, all the way through this congressional race right now. I am going to tell you what my agenda is, who I am, what I've done, what I believe in, and what I'm going to fight for. If that resonates with you and you want to give me a contribution anywhere from $4 for the fight and forth, all the way up to the max of $5,400, $2,700 for the primary, $2,700 for the general. I appreciate the support everywhere in between. But know this, I have given you my agenda, my values, and what I'm going to fight for. It's not going to change. Those core values are not going to change. I don't care how much money you bring to the table. As you mentioned at the opening of the segment, I turned down being part of a $3.5 million endorsement contract with, arguably the most powerful sportswear company in the world when I was coaching at St. John's University in New York City. Money isn't important to me. Do we need it to run campaigns? Yes. But I want to get small dollar contributions to run my campaigns. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of. When you look, if you do an analysis of congressional races and you do a pie chart of where the donations are coming from, for most congressional races, small dollar online contributions make up about 10% of the war chest for most people running around the country. Mine are 30%. Wow. And I want to grow that even more.
Wow, that's fantastic. 30%, that's great.
We're going to need that because here in this primary, there has been some big money that's been lining up behind one of my opponents, and we need to match it with grassroots firepower. And this means that we need every progressive that's watching this show to get on to jimkeady.com, JIMKEADY.com, and make a small dollar contribution, whether it's $5, $15, $20. If you can go more than that, great. If you can do it recurring every month, that's awesome. And I know as progressives sometimes we're hesitant. We've heard, oh man, this guy, he says he's a progressive, but is he really going to deliver? I would just encourage you to do a little bit of research on me. I've been on, Jimmy, I've been on your show a number of times. People can see over the arc of the few shows that we've done, the different things that I've been involved with, the issues that I'm passionate about, the example that I've led on in terms of trying to be or being a champion for bold progressive values. We have to take a chance as progressives.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this clip. There's a whole hour and a half of aggressive progressives waiting for you at the Young Turks Network. Become a member and get access to all the content.